At a recent Berkshire Hathaway annual shareholder meeting, Warren Buffett absolutely eviscerated the idea of traditional financial advisors, insisting that they are the worst possible people to trust with your money. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
If you go to a dentist, if you hire a plumber, in all the professions, there is value added by the professionals as a group compared to doing it yourself or just randomly picking laymen. In the investment world, it isn't true. Well, I've said in the annual report that I've known maybe a dozen people in my life, and I said there are undoubtedly hundreds or maybe thousands out there, but I've said that I've known personally a dozen where I would have predicted or did predict in a fair number of those 12 cases, I did predict that the person involved would do better than average in investing over a long period of time. And obviously, Charlie is one of those people. So would I pay him? Sure. But would I take financial advisors as a group and pay them 1% with the idea that they would deliver results to me that were better than the S&P 500 by 1%, and thereby leave me breaking even against what I could have done on my own? There's very few. So it's just not a good question to ask whether, I pay Charlie 1%. That's like asking, whether I'd have paid Babe Ruth, 100,000 or whatever it was to come over from the Red Sox to the Yankees. I mean, sure I would have, but there weren't very many people I would have paid 100,000 to in 1919 or whatever it was to come over to the Yankees. So it's a fascinating situation, because the problem isn't that the advisors are going to do so terrible. It's just that you have an option available that doesn't cost you anything, that is going to do better than they are in aggregate. And it's an interesting question. I mean, if you hire an obstetrician, assuming you need one, they're going to do a better job of delivering the baby than, if the spouse comes in to do it, or if they just pick somebody up off the street. And if you go to a dentist, if you hire a plumber, in all the professions, there is value added by the professionals as a group compared to doing it yourself or just randomly picking laymen. In the investment world, it isn't true. I mean, the active group, the people that are professionals in aggregate, cannot do better than the aggregate of the people who just sit tight. And if you say, well, in the active group there's some person that's terrific, I will agree with you. But the passive people can't all pick that person, and they don't know how to identify us.
Okay, that's some brutal, honest, straight talk on fee-based money management from Warren Buffett. But does it tell the whole story? On the whole, Warren Buffett is right when it comes to active versus passive investing. It is exceedingly difficult to beat stock market benchmarks like the S&P 500 over long periods of time. Sure, you might pull it off for 1 year or even 2 years in a row, but to do it over long periods of time is next to impossible. So why pay 1% to a financial advisor who is likely to underperform these benchmarks over time? Warren Buffett is essentially saying, become a do-it-yourself investor. Put your money in a low-fee stock market index and let it ride. If you do so, you'll come out hundreds of thousands of dollars ahead. Well, there's only one problem with the scenario that Warren Buffett lays out. While it is mathematically sound, it simply doesn't account for the high cost of investor behavior. The fact is, 90% of investment decisions are driven by emotions, and the consequences of this are exacerbated during extreme bull and bear markets. According to what has become known as prospect theory, investment losses exert a much higher emotional impact than an equivalent amount of investment gains. So, for example, the emotional toll of losing $100,000 in the market far outstrips the gratification associated with an equivalent market gain. This plays a huge role in how do-it-yourself index investors manage their strategies, and that can lead to huge losses over time. Let me elaborate. We've all been told that the key to investing is to buy low and sell high. However, when markets dip, the do-it-yourself investor does not buy more. he tends to bail out of the market. Conversely, when the market rebounds, the do-it-yourselfer investor's optimism can lead to overestimations of how high the next peak will be. So instead of buying low and selling high, they tend to buy high and sell low. So the name of the game, as it turns out, is to stay invested in the market, regardless of its peaks and valleys over time. It's not timing the market, but time in the market. The following chart compares the performance of an investor who stays invested in the market versus someone who yields to emotion-based investment decisions. The graphic shows a $10,000 investment from 1986 to 2022 and compares the performance of a set-it-and-forget-it investor versus a do-it-yourself investor who missed the top days in the market. As you can see, those who missed only the 10 best days reduced their returns by more than half. What's the moral of the story? Those who stay invested amid market fluctuations have far superior returns to those who follow an emotion-driven investment approach. So what does all this have to do with Warren Buffett's original statement about financial advisors? Well, if you adopt an index-based, do-it-yourself, emotion-driven approach to investing, you are much less likely to remain invested during extreme market volatility versus the investor who has a financial advisor. Remember, one of the main purposes of a financial advisor is to hold your hand and keep you invested during jittery periods in the market. So yes, Warren Buffett is right that strict index investing will outperform what a 1% fee financial advisor might earn you over time. But if that financial advisor is able to hold your hand through difficult market conditions and tame your emotional impulses to time the market, then your money will grow far more productively than a strict do-it-yourself, Warren Buffett endorsed indexed approach to investing. Folks, in the next 10 years, I'm looking to put 100,000 Americans on the road to the 0% tax bracket. If you would like some help implementing a balanced, comprehensive approach to tax-free retirement that shields you from the impact of higher taxes down the road, head on over to davemcknight.com and click on the Connect with an Advisor button. I'm happy to refer you to an advisor in the Power Zero network that has been trained, vetted, and qualified personally by me. If you're a financial professional and want to learn how to become a certified Power Zero advisor, head over to powerofzero.com and opt into my free video series. And if you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop them into the comment section below. I'll respond to every single one of them personally. And don't forget to click like, subscribe, and the bell so you never miss a video. This is David McKnight. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.